This is Dust. It is the hardest mod for Fallout New Vegas, and in the pursuit of complete immersion, I've made it even harder.
Angorco presents to you the Dust Survival Experience, so strap into your Vision-Tron and boot into your Tango S software, because this is surviving the dust, your only chance of surviving the dust. And for the uninitiated who do not know what the dust is, here is some background information.
Let me set the scene. It's the year 2281 and this guy called the Courier decides to fuck everything up. Next thing you know, 20 years later, the NCR is no more, the Sierra Madre's toxic cloud made its way out of the casino and into the Mojave, and finally the tunnelers in the Divide dig their way to Vegas. And so if you find yourself in this dust, the only true goal is to survive, which is now somehow even harder. So I've broken down this list of enhancements into 7 main categories, mandatory for your survival.
Number 1, perception and awareness, as you can't survive what you cannot see.
And the first big enhancement made to Dust to make it a truly horrifying experience is New Vegas Reloaded. You don't realize how much lighting can affect the difficulty of this game until you're trying to shoot something that you cannot see at all. Because as you know, the last 20 years has been rough on the Mojave, so you might not recognize any of your familiar hangouts. And that's all thanks to New Vegas Post Apocalyptic. But with our next enhancement, Realtime Pipboy Map, you can just look right down at your wrist. Because that really does beat standing there like a jackass waiting to get shot. And that's all thanks to our next mod, Real-Time Menus. And now this one's a game changer because now people don't give a shit whether you need a moment to check your inventory or see where you're going. Okay? And let me tell you, no more are the days of putting buckets over NPCs' heads, and that's all thanks to our next enhancement, Enhanced NPC Awareness. You basically got a bunch of paranoid tweakers roaming the wastes now. But they cannot see through walls, and that's thanks to our next mod, Cover-Based Stealth. So you should have a better chance of surviving if you stick to cover and walk slowly, because they will hear you. But don't worry, you'll be able to hear them too thanks to our next mod, Project Reality Footsteps. It adds over 60 new sound effects so you know exactly where and what your enemy is stepping on. But how do you know if you've been spotted or not? Well, thanks to our next mod, Bullet Whizzes, you'll know real quick. And we're forgetting one thing you really need to be aware of if you want to survive, and that's how hungry you are. Thanks to our next mod, Real-Time Pip-Boy Counters, you can also just look down at your wrist. And that right there brings us to our next chapter in Surviving the Dust.
2, mobility and fatigue. You can't survive if you can't move.
Alright, well it's now time to get moving. You may be wondering, why am I so slow? Well, that's thanks to our next mod, Walking Inertia. And now instead of it feeling like you're hitting a button, it feels like you're really using some energy to get going. And speaking of moving, you gotta get out of Dodge's way. But thanks to our next enhancement, Enhanced Movement, you can sprint out of harm's way. Of course, that's if you aren't dehydrated or starving. And sprinting too much might leave you dehydrated and starving. And you also need to be very weary of all this uneven ground. As our next enhancement, Falling and Landing, will be sure to remind you that you aren't 19 anymore. And you know what? All this moving around has really worked up my appetite. And that brings us to our next category.
Number 3, resources. You need food and water or you will die.
Dust is all about survival, and to survive, you need resources, of course. From food, to water, to medicine, to trash, and a little bit of garbage. And most of the goodies are going to be sitting inside of some building somewhere. But oh boy, would you look at that. The door is locked. But do not fret, because we can do a little breaking and entering, or some like to call it forced entry. But that isn't exclusive to just doors. Any locked container for that matter. You can start hitting it a bunch with your melee weapon at the cost of destroying it, or you can shoot it at the cost of ammo, of course. Or you can do my personal favorite, explode the fucking thing. At the cost of everything inside of the container. If you haven't noticed already, you can open things up thanks to B42 Interact, but that's not limited to containers or doors. You can also open up dogs, but sometimes you can get lucky and just find what you need sitting around. And with B42 Loot, you can really get a feel for what you're grabbing. So you have yourself some drinks, and thanks to B42 Inject, along with every animation pack available, thank you Hitman, you can watch that cola or sewage run right down your gullet. And believe it or not, drinking human feces is not good for you. So you can appreciate the stim pack as it clears those toxins away. And that brings me to our next category, key for your survival.
Number 4, medical. You can't survive if you are dead.
You know, Dust has a lot wanting to kill you, including yourself. Because you're gonna slowly go insane living off of dogs, humans. I mean, shit, you're wearing a dude's face right now. Jesus Christ. But don't worry, there are things you can do to maintain your mental health. One of those being copious amounts of alcohol, and the other, my favorite, cigarettes. And thanks to a smoke before the storm and light up and smoke, you can smoke away all of your problems. So maintain your mental health in style with a pack of cigarettes. But a cigarette will not help you with the diseases you caught, thanks to simple diseases, not only from what you consume, but what you encounter in the wastes, such as ghouls, tunnelers, and various other irradiated abominations. But be warned, because the slightly less irradiated abominations in the wasteland have guns. And you want to know what's worse than poor mental health? A bullet. And thanks to tactical gameplay modifications, no more are the days of a bullet sponge. This isn't a game anymore, okay? This is real life. Remember to shoot for center mass. You won't die from getting shot in the leg, but your foes will sure get staggered by it. Thanks to dramatic staggering. No hit of adrenaline is going to stop you from brushing off a 12 gauge to the leg. But honestly, it depends on how you hit them, because our next enhancement is live dismemberment. That adrenaline will help you live long enough to go find a quiet spot to die in. And dying ain't quite on our agenda. And that brings me to our next category key for not dying.
Number 5, equipment. You need stuff.
Dust has made your typical gear quite rare, so you'll find a variety of handcrafted weaponry and armor. Not only that, medical supplies as well. Remember that crutch you took? Well, junk like that can come in handy. The Dust survival experience does come with a crafting kit included. Okay, so most of the stuff you find is of course almost broken, but thanks to alternative repair, you actually can repair your gear with a similar set of gear. Craft yourself a nice bundle of throwing knives and collect them from the corpses of your foes with B42 retrievable throwable weapons. And thanks to real-time weapon modding, you can get ready for any occasion on the fly. And thanks to B42 optics, you have yourself a real-life immersive scope with all of the drawbacks that come with such a thing. And I would say that we are ready to defend ourselves. We're ready for our next category.
Number 6, combat. Kill them before they kill you. Yeah, that'll do.
As you've gathered by now, the wasteland isn't all butterflies and roses. And if you want to make it out of the dust, you're going to have to fight. And you'll notice you aren't as stiff as you once were, and that's thanks to B42 Inertia. So now you'll really feel the weight requirements in all the weapons as it sways all over the place. So be sure you're strong enough for your gun, because it's going to kick like a damn mule, especially with B42 recoil, paired with that weapon Inertia. And with that in mind, you're going to want to be really tactical with your engagements, and that's where true leaning really comes in handy. So take your time and peek around those corners, because it's cool and very effective. And one thing you're really going to want to consider is the fact that bullets are no longer just lasers. And that's thanks to physics-based ballistics. So get ready to combat all the grievances of real-world shooting. And say you run out of ammo. Well, don't worry, because with all the throwables you've been stashing, you can use B42 Quick Throw to quickly throw whatever it is you need to throw. And if you don't have anything to throw, well, don't worry about that either, because with B42 Melee Bash, you can go over there and smack them in the head. And with that said, I'd say you're pretty prepared. And that brings us to our final category.
Number 7, irreversible consequences. Irreversible consequences arise from the lack of paying attention to this here survival manual. And Johnny here must have tuned out for our first category and died from playing on his Pip-Boy. So you can experience the life leave your body with Fade to Black. Which brings us to our final mod, our final consequence. Nothing, forever nothing, with no second chances. And coming up next is the true story of Tangor attempting to make it out of the dust with only one life. Can he do it?
I'm not sure yet. I am not sure at all. Like and subscribe if you will, if you liked it, if you're still listening. That'd be nice of you. Made a second account, second channel, Tangor Tinkers. If you want to see me tinkering with my things, I have a CRT TV I play with. I circuit bend things on occasion. Got old VHS cameras, analog video mixers, green monitor, make music a little bit. Well, that's a stretch to call it music. I make noises a little bit. So you could go over there and subscribe if you like that stuff. That's all. Thank you.